Before the TOGAF ADM can deliver value, the organization needs a solid foundation: clear principles, standards, repositories, and governance. In this section, we'll see how the preliminary phase builds that capability and why it matters for responsible AI readiness. The ADM works best when the organization is prepared to use it consistently. We've covered enterprise architecture foundations and the structure of the ADM. Now we focus on the enabling pieces: capability, governance, principles, repositories, decision forums, and compliance checkpoints. The preliminary phase creates the conditions for architecture work to succeed. It checks readiness, sets architecture principles, defines governance and roles, and selects the methods, tools, and repositories teams will use. It also connects architecture practice to strategy, operating model, compliance needs, and risk appetite. Without this foundation, each project may interpret architecture differently. With it, the ADM becomes consistent, repeatable, auditable, and useful to stakeholders across the enterprise. Architecture capability means the organization can perform enterprise architecture reliably, not just depend on individual architects. It brings together skilled people, defined roles, repeatable methods, standards, repositories, tools, and governance forums. These elements create a shared operating model for how architecture decisions are made, reviewed, escalated, and enforced. Without that capability, decisions become inconsistent and personality-driven. With it, architecture becomes a managed discipline that guides change, improves alignment, and helps the enterprise move with confidence. Skilled architects are only one part of the capability. The organization also needs structures that make good decisions repeatable. The architecture board sets direction, approves major choices, and resolves conflicts. Standards, methods, templates, and ADM-aligned processes give teams a common way to work. The repository captures principles, reference models, patterns, designs, risks, and decisions, so knowledge can be reused. Decision forums keep trade-offs visible, while compliance checkpoints confirm that delivery remains aligned. Together, these components turn architecture from advice into a governed, usable enterprise capability. Architecture governance gives important choices a clear place to be made. The architecture board sets the guardrails: principles, standards, roadmaps, compliance expectations, and rules for exceptions. Decision forums then apply those guardrails at the right level, from enterprise strategy to domains, programs, solutions, and delivery teams. Their value is not ceremony. It is decision quality and speed. When business priorities collide with technology constraints, risk, or cost, the forum provides an escalation path, documented rationale, and a clear outcome: approve, request change, grant an exception, or escalate the risk. Standards and methods turn architecture from good intentions into repeatable practice. Standards define the boundaries: acceptable technologies, integration patterns, security controls, and data rules. Methods explain how teams do the work, including applying the ADM, creating artifacts, managing requirements, and running reviews. Ways of working connect those rules to real delivery, whether teams use Agile, DevSecOps, product delivery, or portfolio governance. The aim is consistency without rigidity, so teams can produce architecture that is comparable, governed, and trusted while still moving at the right pace. Architecture principles are the stable rules that keep decisions consistent when teams face trade-offs. In the preliminary phase, they are defined before solution design begins, so speed, cost, security, interoperability, scalability, and compliance are balanced deliberately. A strong principle is more than a slogan. It has a clear name, a concise statement, business rationale, and practical implications for architects, engineers, and governance teams. For an Azure AI platform, principles such as secure by design, data as an enterprise asset, and responsible AI by default turn strategy into repeatable design choices. They must be understandable, actionable, and enforceable. Compliance is most effective when it happens throughout delivery, not at the end. At intake, architecture confirms that the initiative fits strategy and principles. During solution design, reviewers test patterns, standards, data choices, and integration approaches. Security review validates controls and risk treatment before build commitments harden. Readiness checks confirm that implementation plans, environments, and operational support are in place. Before release, the focus shifts to production risk and approved exceptions. Each checkpoint should produce a clear outcome: approved, approved with conditions, rejected, or exception granted. The goal is faster delivery through earlier risk visibility. AI governance readiness means treating AI as a controlled enterprise capability, not just a new application feature. Start with data controls. Who can use which data, for what purpose, with what consent, lineage, retention, and sensitivity rules. Then govern the model itself. Before approval, teams should evaluate training data, intended use, performance, explainability, bias, and monitoring plans. Responsible AI adds the human expectations: fairness, reliability, transparency, accountability, privacy, and oversight. Security, privacy, and regulatory reviews must also happen before production, so innovation can move quickly without creating unmanaged risk. For the Azure Enterprise AI platform, the preliminary phase translates governance into concrete policy domains. Data usage policies define what information may be used in prompts, RAG indexes, analytics, training, and evaluation. Model approval policies specify which model types are allowed, how they are validated, who signs off, and who monitors them after release. Security review covers identity, network boundaries, encryption, secrets, logging, and threat modeling. Privacy and compliance policies connect the platform to retention, auditability, data protection, and sector rules. Together, these guardrails let teams innovate without reinventing risk decisions on every project. The architecture repository is the team's shared memory. It is not just a document store. It holds the standards, reference models, patterns, solution designs, risks, and decisions that guide future work. Its value comes from structure and governance. Each asset needs an owner, a version, a status, and a review date, so people know what is current and trusted. Teams also need a life cycle: contribute, review, approve, publish, and retire. Done well, the repository helps architects stop reinventing answers and start building consistent, traceable decisions across the enterprise. Standards, patterns, and reference models form the architecture team's reusable toolkit. Standards set the rules: which cloud services are approved, how encryption is handled, and which integration protocols are acceptable. Patterns capture proven solutions to recurring problems, such as private endpoints, API gateways, event-driven flows, or secure AI inference. Reference models give teams a shared starting structure for capabilities, data platforms, application portfolios, or landing zones. Governance keeps the toolkit useful. Each asset needs a domain, owner, lifecycle status, and clear applicability, so teams know what to use, when to use it, and when not to. Good governance depends on remembering not only what was built, but why it was chosen. A decision log records the choice, the approver, the alternatives, and the implications. A risk register records what could go wrong, how likely it is, the impact, mitigation, ownership, and review status. Traceability connects these artifacts to requirements, principles, standards, solution designs, and compliance evidence. For AI platforms, this is critical. Model approvals, data usage, security exceptions, and audit findings must link to clear rationale, so future teams can change safely and defend decisions confidently. The preliminary phase gives the ADM a working foundation: governance bodies, principles, standards, methods, repositories, and compliance checkpoints. For AI-enabled change, it also prepares controls for data use, model approval, security, privacy, and responsible AI. With that capability in place, Phase A can define the transformation vision, stakeholders, scope, value, and constraints with confidence.